Yeah, yeah. It's Tuesday. It's Tuesday the 4th. So I had my phone interview today, and I thought I would come online and talk a little bit about that and whatever. I'm kind of out of it. I've been in bed for a few hours, and I can't seem to get the strength back in my legs today. So the overproduction of white blood cells is taking its toll on me. And anyways, I this is Ron, and it's Tuesday 4th, and I should probably talk about the numbers instead of silly SSI. They didn't want to believe me. Now, some woman with a very heavy accent from Barbados doesn't want to believe me. When it comes down to, it's just a matter of the medical record of it, and then, of course, financial truth. And they have the right to search any agency or whatever, collections, whatever they want to do to see who I am. Anyways, I'm glad that's over. They said it takes 2 to 3 months to process me from this point. I don't know why. It was 2 to 3 months to get the appointment, the phone interview. So, anyways, I provided everything they needed. And everything was no, 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 no. Do you have, 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 no, 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 no. They talked about so many different avenues of people, of ways of earnings that I'd never heard of before. I think 7 different avenues of earnings, like a trust and this and that, and subsidies and this. She listed it all out. There's no, 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 no. She even asked, "How are you eating? How are you living? How can?" I said, "I know it's an anomaly. What can I say? It is." So, in numerology, we'll get to that. That's more important, don't you think? So the energies of the numerology. And today was very much it's very much like that the number 6. It's in the tarot you see the 6 of cups and you see the 6 of pentacles. That's it's an emotional or it's a physical, financial, and so it expresses itself. Today, of course, with the 6, that being fertility, that being family, all things family. So this whole entire month, if there's any emphasis coming from any end, it doesn't matter. The emphasis must be of family, as it is the man. They say the man is like CIA, the underhanded one, the one that's running the plan, the one that's got president on strings, the man, and the why is the man. Oh, wow, there's a lot of gunfire out there. It's been for quite some time. It must be a war. Yeah, yeah. Someone's going down the road just shooting a gun. It probably doesn't come through video. How interesting. I heard it before I turned the video on. It was like 6 or 7 shots. I thought that was it. That's it over. You unloaded your gun, go away. But a lot of drive-by stuff's going on these days. Yeah. So Jeff witnessed a drive-by shooting across the street the other night. I tell you what, thank God for thick adobe walls, right? So the 6 is about family and nurturing. It's it's an expression of an outward movement. So it presents itself as expansion. And so there's an expansion, and you can think in efforts of man, expansion of the efforts of man, or the expansion of the efforts of money. because the six also represents money. So you can see how contacting SSI and them contacting me at this time is very appropriate. Yeah, for that nurturing. And so the six upon the year. Now the year is eight, which is time. It's the manager's number. The eight is power and control. It has a lot to do with the facility of cutting things out. Yeah. And so time, because there's a crossing, that's where we would envision that sort of unnecessary. We don't take don't take the unnecessary with us. Cutting something out would be the unnecessary and get rid of it. There's no reason to carry it forward. So the eight has that control to measure that manager's number, that businessman, and it is a political number too. So the whole year in time has a political aspect. Of course it would, as we see it. Yeah, that power and control, those issues of those who lose control. And of course, the threat of being cut off, as it is the mark, as it is the beast. Yeah, it is. Its perdition, as it is everlasting, in its infinity symbol, and it's the hourglass that gets turned over. Yeah, so what was on top goes on bottom, and what's going vice versa. The many versus the few. Anyways, so together, the six, that expansion, um, and yeah, that growth, yeah, expansion, um, upon time. So there's an expansion of time this month by way of a hand. Yeah, because it creates the hand. So 6 and 8 is 14. That's the 5. Now, the hand could be the right or left, and the right hand know not what the left hand does. And this is for a purpose. Yeah, just allow spirit to get things done. Get things done. As much as we have choices, we don't have free will. Now, the will is a scroll held by an angel of light. So the scroll with seven seals is the inheritance unto the Lamb. So it's the will of God. So it's his will. And by his will, the dragon gives the beast its power. Yeah, for 42 months. Yeah, that's what happens. We know the players, the players on the stage. Because heaven, the war is in heaven, and the stage of this world is our view to heaven through them. Yeah, it's that easy. So the hand places itself upon each day. So the 5, which is freedom, and well, it could be death. It could be death or freedom, because both are the liberation of that which would bind the soul. And and it's change. It's called change. So the 5 is change, and it would be that which can be held in the hand. So the 5, that change, presents itself upon the day. And so 5 upon the 4 today is the 9. Completion. The caretaker, the caregiver, the spirit, and it's the humanitarian. Well, I hope so, because I also told the person on the phone that I would like to apply for SNAP, but she didn't take that seriously either, and so she didn't push that forward. And I don't understand why. So now what do I do? Because that's how you apply, is through them. So how do I get that? Yeah, I'm deserving. Yeah, I should be able to go to the store and use my SNAP card and pick up necessities like baby formula and diapers for the immigrants. Yeah, right. So, anyways, um, that's today. Today's the night, and today's emotional. I didn't get emotional. I told her that I would try to hang in there, for the next 2 or 3 months while they try to figure it out. And it shouldn't take that long in this electronic world of ours. You'd think they were running mail service. We'll call you. Don't come in our office. Yeah, they have a building here. They have a whole building here in Las Cruces, the SSA and Social Security Administration. But you're not allowed to walk in and just inquire. You can't. If anything, you walk in, there's probably papers that you can read, but there's no person for you. You can't make an appointment. I don't know why. It's probably not for me. It's not for my privilege. So, anyways, um, all month we can just take the hand and place it on the day in remembrance of it, and then see the calculation that it brings forth. I do enough numbers that we should pretty much have a basic foundation of it, but we can cover that if you want. The one is very basic. It's very common sense. So the one is as the child. It's the one. It's the child. It's the beginning. It's an idea. It's a thought. It's a step. See how easy that was? That's the understanding of the one. Yeah, it could be the self. It could be selfish. It could be imaginative. Yeah, that's the one. And then comes the two, balance. Well, it's partnership, isn't it? It's equality. But it's also not only to see things equally, but to see the inequality that presents itself because of that, because of the understanding of what's equal and what's not. We do have a tendency to see the world in an unequal fashion because we know equality in our hearts. We know what's fair and what's unfair. So that's the two. That's the two. And you can say, well, it's a juggling act, but isn't it? You know, it should be so simple. So from the two to the three is creativity. It's um, it's in conjunction of the two with another. So it is a collaboration, but it's also the aspect of the artist. So it has to do with that which is old and broken or hidden and bringing out that which cannot be seen otherwise, except for through art, through beauty and creativity. Yeah, it's considered the altar, the past, the present, and the future. All as one thing, surrounded. The I was, the I am, and the I will, so as to allow the spirit to be the I do. Yeah, that which surrounds. Yeah, like the signet ring. And the three unclean, and the four winds, that we should understand them: earth, air, fire, and water. That there would be three unclean told to us. Well, they're old and broken and they're discarded, and yet they're not. And within that is the beauty and the creativity that can be brought forth to something entirely new, unexpected. So from the three, we have the four. Four is as a door, it's movement upward. It's it's career and foundation. It has to do with work. It has to do with your work. And of course, foundation's wood. And it's the cornerstone to which all things are built upon. Yeah, even though the White House is missing theirs. And then it's movement upward. I said that, didn't I? Yeah. Whereas this month is six with an outward expansion. The four likes to rise up. Yeah, it's expression. Yeah, especially in light of a tower if it adds to itself 3 times. So then we have the five, which is freedom. That's the traveler's number. That's the hand. Yeah, to repent. return to the upper room. Yeah, to allow the wind to carry us, which is the Ruach, the set apart spirit. And then the six, fertility, family, and the money. It could anything that expands outwardly. That money expands, seems to expand and expand and expand. And it's the man. Yeah, the man is expanding. Yeah, he's moving outward upon the worlds, on all the worlds. Yeah. And then, of course, the seven. Seven's internal. It's the angle. It looks like an angle. It's an angel, as it is graduation. It's light, as it is the L. And it's like an internal memory. It's a photograph. Yeah, yeah. And that's when the student-teacher relationship steps forward, whereas the student is on the inside, allowing the teachers to be outside of themselves. Eventually, the student steps out to become the teacher as the teacher steps in through guidance. Yeah, internal memory served. Yeah, so the seven is very perfection. That's what it would be, perfection. People say that seven represents the number of God, but that's not true when there's so many other numbers, and God is all things. It's perfection. It's that portion of God that it would be known as perfection. That's why it's light. Yeah, it is. It's an angle of light. So then there's the eight, power and control this year, like this year. And it's the hourglass as it is time. And it's the sacrifice that's made from one side to the other in order to make passage. Yeah, because it has to pass through. It is the Ouroboros itself, twisted. Yeah, so it's the snake eating its own tail, isn't it? Yeah, it's the moment of consumption and birth. Yeah. So it has to be power. It has to do with power and control, managerially, and as a businessman or for a politician or those that are in such a capacity to utilize things like power. Yeah, time. It's time. It could be considered like the Father in its essence. Yeah, and it looks like handcuffs, doesn't it? Yeah, like authority. So it has the authoritarian, and it's authoritarian in its process because it'll fire you. It'll cut you out if you're unnecessary. And isn't that what this year is all about? It's certainly, it's expressing itself. And praise the Lord, we have the dragon on our side. Certainly, he said, "Get behind me, Satan," and he did. He did. And so the Christ, or the Christ child in this capacity, is the dragon. He's Trump. So beyond that, we're going to get to the nine, and that's completion. Nine is completion. Because there really isn't a 10. It's a 1 again, but there's an unknowable factor added unto it, the 0. But the 9 is caretaker and caregiver. It's emotionality as it is the speak of all things throughout the universe. Emotion. Yeah, vibration, frequency. It's the head of all the numbers. Anything that stands with the 9 becomes itself, reflects itself. And then, of course, to the 9 comes the 10, which is just the 1 again, but the 10 is the thief, the 1 with the natural resign. And that's just in preparation for the mastery numbers, the 11, the 22, the 33, so forth like that. And then, of course, the compounding numbers, which are also in the mastery form, being the three digits 111, 222. That's so that's pretty simple. So I went over that pretty fast. Basic numerology. It doesn't have anything to do with gematria. No, it doesn't. It has its own expression. Each number has its own influence upon you, and what you have are choices. No, you don't have free will. You can't just disregard something that someone else believes. No, that would be blasphemy. Yeah, it would. But your own belief can override their delusion. Yeah, in truth, especially through the living word, which is very important. So as we get through this 8th year, this political year, we're going to find ourselves in completion, not incomplete, but in a complete phase of a number 9 year next year. And, and that has to do with the humanitarian, returning everybody home. Deportation. Imita. Yeah, and cut you off of this benefits package that seems to be open house for everybody but those who are deserving. It's true. So, anyways, this is a general message for the day. It's for entertainment purposes only, darling. But we'll get through it because it is pretty entertaining. Yeah, it is. And we have to keep our wits about us, especially in light of the criminality and those that are out there doing such criminal behaviors. Like who shoots a gun at people? What kind of madman does that? And what kind of um, level of disrespect did you get that you should uh, put something like that in your hands to affect all others around you? It's absurd. Grow up. So, anyways, if you live by the sword, you die by the sword. Yeah, can't you tell? Okay, take care. Talk to you soon. Bye.